Hey everybody, Kate Payne here from Standing Out Online, and I'm excited to have you on my live episode of Coffee with Kate. I have a very special guest today, not only a special guest who is incredibly brilliant, but also a very dear friend of mine. So welcome to Felicia Searcy. Thank you for being here and having coffee with me today. Oh my gosh, you have the same mug. It's almost like
it's just they're all over the place.
Thank you for being with us today. So we are going to talk about, first, before we get started, we're going to be talking about from striving to thriving. That's the name of this episode, letting go of the pressure to push. But before we dig in, I just want to briefly mention how I know Felicia, because it's kind of a cool story. So I love you, my friend. You're one of just my favorite people on the planet. You've brought so much to my life. I've learned so much from you. And I met Felicia when I first joined eWomen Network back in 2019. I was a founding member of the Vermont chapter, and we went to there were 6 of us that went to our very first conference in Dallas. And at that conference, somebody gifted me the annual foundation dinner, which is where you get to meet with the keynote speaker. You go with Sandra and Kim, the founder and CEO and president of eWomen, and Felicia was there. And Felicia was clearly in Sandra's inner circle, and I knew nobody. And so there I was sitting there, and I thought, oh my gosh, all these people are so successful, and I was intimidated. And then when I got to know Felicia, I was like, what was I so intimidated?
Exactly. Trying to figure that out.
So that's a compliment.
Hopefully I was nice to you.
You were super nice to me. I think it was the woman who sold the salsa company to Campbell's Soup, Maggie Cook. Yeah, that was the speaker that year. Yeah. What a story too.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Felicia has been in my world, not only as friends, we've been through programs together. I've gone to her 4-day retreat that she has every year in Tucson, and learning how to live my dream life. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because, we did an exercise. I think I was at the one, was it last year or the year before?
Year before.
And we had to write a letter to ourselves.
Yeah.
For a year later. And you sent that to me. And I think it came to me like, I don't know, the end of last year or first part of this year. And I was like, what's this? And I read it and I was like, wow, so much of that was happening. Yeah. And you were the inspiration in your methodologies. So that's why I wanted to bring her on the show, is to help all of you who are in business, whether you're a women entrepreneur, whether you're a male entrepreneur, all of these things apply. So we're going to jump right in here. So please, if you're watching, feel free to participate. You can ask questions in the chat, and I'll spotlight your question and Felicia can answer it. And also, if you're watching on the replay, make sure this will automatically go into the replay mode as soon as we're done with the show. So most people are going to see this on the replay. But if you have a question, even watching on the replay, if you tag me or Felicia in, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube, we can go in and still answer your question, even if it's 3 days from now or 2 weeks from now. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So thank you. All right, Felicia, I've been, being the former journalist that I am, I come very prepared and do all my things so that I feel like we have a plan, but I also love it when we go off where we go off to, and that's meant to be also. So you've worked with so many high achieving entrepreneurs who do all the right things.
Yeah.
Yet they still feel stuck, exhausted, they're in overwhelm. What's the biggest mindset shift you help them make first? If you can just point to one. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, well, here's what's interesting. I don't really use the word mindset very often, because it's beyond mindset. And what I mean by that, so the biggest shift, right? Let's just call it a shift that I help people make, is coming back to an awareness that number one, they've got a dream. So it's a multiple part shift, right? That everybody, you're doing it because you've got a vision, you've got a desire, you've got a dream. And so what I do is I help people come back to that desire, to remember what that desire was, to get clear on what that desire is. And so, here then is the biggest shift that shifts it from pushing to thriving, right? Striving to thriving, which is why it's not necessarily a mindset shift, is understanding that desire is not your desire, that we are connected to something so much bigger than us, that there truly is a life force energy that's moving through us, that's animating us, that woke us up this morning, that is wanting to express in more bolder, brilliant ways. And so when we can remember the origin of the desire, that we are actually receiving a desire, and as we remember that we're actually receiving a desire and we're saying yes to this desire, then we can begin to get the sense that I don't have to do this all by myself. I don't have to figure this out.
Right.
You can see the exhale in people, and then we begin to do the mastery of learning how to tap into that on a more consistent basis, so we can allow this invisible intelligence to support us more consistently and more easily.
Okay, so let's break down a few different things. So first of all, I purposely, here's a little secret, a little journalist secret.
You use the word mindset
Purposely
because you
use
know
the
I don't
word
use
mindset so that you would hopefully say pretty much exactly what you said. I mean, I didn't mean that as like a bait and switch. I don't mean it like that at all.
sneaky,
It's
sneaky, sneaky,
it's just a
sneaky.
way for you to describe where you're coming from, right?
Yeah,
So let's just break down for people when you say the word desire, because I work with you, I know what you mean. But
yeah.
can you just sort of like break it down into some terminology that if people haven't really, like they know what the word means, but in the context you're talking about it, can you give us a little bit more? Can you unpack that just a little bit?
Yeah, here's the thing. Um, so it's the thing that you really want, but you argue with yourself, right? You say, this is too big. I don't know that I really want it. It feels like it's a lot of work. Can I really do it? That one is insidious,
Yep.
right? The one
Yes.
that says, can I really do this? Do I deserve it? That one kind of works its way, it worms its way
Yes. Worms. Good word.
into, the like the subterranean part of us. And so what happens is that, there's that flash of, oh my gosh, I would love this, if they even let themselves hear that. And then all those voices start talking. And I've watched this over, I just realized that last month was 30 years of doing this work for me.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been 30 years and in a couple of different iterations, but it's been 30 years that I've had the honor of doing this work with people. And I watch as people start chipping down or watering down their desire, which is one of the reasons why they end up working so hard, or they feel like they're working so hard, because now they're going for something
Right.
that they kind of want to sort of want, but it's not that burning desire. So this is that thing that makes your heart go, oh my God, can I really do that?
Mhm.
Right?
Right.
Before that moment, you start like
Yes.
squelching it. That's what I mean by desire.
Perfect. Thank you. So let's back up a little bit from that now.
Okay.
So now that we've sort of set the stage for the desire piece and explained that so well. So let's talk a little bit about your background. So I don't like to read bios because they always sound so structured. And so let's just give us a little bit of a background. So one of the things I knew about you before I met you was that you had previously lived somewhere else. You live in Arizona now, and I think you grew up or you were in Tennessee for a
Yeah,
while.
so I've
Yeah.
kind of lived all over the
And you
place.
were a minister, and
Yes.
then you evolved into what you're doing now, and you've worked with people like Mary Morrissey and
Yeah.
others. So just give us a little bit of a snapshot of what took you from being a minister to being how you define yourself now, so that people understand what it is that the outcome you provide for them.
Yeah, well, so the thing about, when I was functioning, serving as a minister, I actually had a church for 15 years. I taught these principles. And so that's the thing that I want to make sure that people
Right.
understand, that it wasn't a conventional um, kind of religion
Mhm.
path, that it was a spiritual philosophy, a spiritual movement that I am
Right.
actually ordained in, where
Yep.
we taught these spiritual principles of, how to create and become and tap into this infinite source. And I would watch people come in, and I really didn't say anything radically different then than what I'm saying now.
Right.
But I'd watch people come in week after week after week, and they'd get inspired, and they may make incremental changes, but they weren't making the kind of changes that I knew were available. And quite frankly, I wasn't experiencing the kind
Right.
of changes in my own life. And the second thing was that I wanted to grow my own personal wealth. My husband was a money-making machine, for which I'm deeply grateful for. And we're still together, it's been over 39 years now. But I wanted to know, I wanted to have that experience of creating a work that would allow me to create my own wealth.
Yep.
Number one, to not necessarily be dependent on him.
Mhm.
And number two, to be able to give to the organizations that were really important to me. So I stepped out, became, certified in coaching, and brought my, at that point, 15 years, well, over 30 years of study of this, and
Yep.
then, or 10, or however long, I think it was 10 years. And then 15 years of serving in the capacity as a minister to build a business in order to help people go deeper, and I could go broader in message. I wanted to really help people learn how to unlock the power of these principles so that they could actually see the difference in themselves and the difference in their lives. And
Yep.
it's wonderful, amazing, the results that people are
I
getting.
love that you use the word spiritual, because everybody has their different beliefs. People,
Yeah.
they believe whatever their higher power is. And some people say the universe, some people say God, some people say whatever. So for the
Sam.
sake of this conversation,
Sam.
Yeah. Sam?
Some people call God Sam.
Oh, it's like people who name their chat GPT. Just kidding. No, so I'm, for the sake of this conversation today, I'm going to use the word spiritual, which can be all encompassing.
Yep.
It doesn't mean a certain something. And that is something for me personally. When I met you, I already had a spiritual background, a spiritual life, a spiritual practice.
Yeah.
But you showed me how much more I could do with it, basically. Like, instead of, I think I was doing things in a pretty, for me, structured way. And I opened my heart even more. I mean, I think that's what's so nice about meeting new people, is you learn all these kinds of different things about so many things, right? And then you remain open to possibility.
That's it, Kate. That deep, intimate, personal relationship with
Yes.
this undefined, infinite presence.
When you call yourself a results expert, Felicia, and you talk about helping people love their life,
Yeah.
I think there's people who can go, oh my God, I get up in the morning, I'm like, I love my life. And then there's, 2 hours later, like, hate my life, like, it's just because of the circumstance, So we're talking about loving your life and results in a way, fill in the blank. Like, and how would you describe that when you talk?
Okay.
So take it into like what it is that you do for the clients that you work with.
Yeah. So, when we talk about, results, everybody starts with something in their life that they want to change, right? And you talk primarily, and so do I, Kate, that we talk primarily to entrepreneurs. And so entrepreneurs, especially heart-centered entrepreneurs, the amazing beings that we attract in our world, they want to make a bigger difference. They want to make a bigger impact with their work, whether it's their work or their wealth. And so people have their eye on results. And so that's, one of the things that we keep front and center is, what's the outer change that you're seeking to create? The most important piece with that is understanding. And so there's an outer result, and then there's an inner result, right? There's an inner shift. That when we get clear that the desire is not necessarily to, quote, manifest something, that you're not checking it off, right? I manifested the money, I manifested the job, I manifested the clients, I manifested the beloved, whatever it is, because I work with people in 4 areas. That to understand that the deeper result that you may not even know that you're looking for is that inner transformation. Because I watch people time and time and time again do what I call episodic manifestation. People will come to me and say, I'm a great manifester. We're all great manifestors. Our life is a reflection of what we're manifesting. We're manifesting all the time, right? The question is this what you want to manifest? But people will tell me I'm a great manifester, but their life hasn't really changed. And so there's a little bit of a play on words. Yes, I'm a results expert, but the thing that I want to support you in seeing is that just because you change your results doesn't mean your life is going to change.
Correct.
It's understanding that the desire is inviting you to see an element, an aspect, a brilliance about yourself that you haven't come to know up to this point,
Right.
and that you learn how to move through life differently. This is where the thriving comes in.
Mhm.
That you literally learn how to move through life with I'm going to use Betsy Clark's word, a much greater degree of ease and grace. That's Betsy's word, is grace, with
Yep.
grace. And so, yes, you're creating the result, but you're creating the result in a way that feels enlivening and empowering. And you start noticing how
Mhm.
you're showing up different, that
Right.
you then become the result.
Right. You just gave me a little bit of an aha. So if we take what you do and we take what I do, and I'm not trying to make this about me, but I just had an interesting little
Please
parallel.
go for it. Make it about
So when I work with my clients, I'm helping them with their messaging. I am helping them discover their story, really define their personal brand. Once they understand that, when they put themselves out there for their visibility efforts,
you.
whether
Yeah.
it's online, offline, on stage, wherever, um, when we do the work on story, like the origin story about like, whenever I ask somebody, okay, this is what you did, this is what you do, what's the story arc there, right?
Yeah.
And and when I'm working with my when I'm working with my one-to-one clients and I go, okay, here's what I think your story is, and I tie the two together, I would say 99% of the time, every one of my clients goes, oh my God, I never thought of it that way. I never realized, like, I love what I do, but I never realized that what I did when I was 8 or 14 or whatever is actually what got me here. So
Yeah.
when they have that understanding, that deeper what I call foundational understanding, then when we work on their positioning, how they want to come across as for their thought leadership, they feel so much more clear. They have more clarity because
Yeah.
now they really get their purpose.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's the same thing. I mean, that's what I noticed when I did that dream life work for
Yeah.
you. I mean, to this day, I still think about it. I still look at my notes. I still think about, all of those things. It was a huge change for me to realize that the things that I want aren't just an intangible dream. I
Yeah.
can make them happen. And
And the only tweak, so a couple tweaks with that.
yeah, yeah,
There's that beautiful self-recognition and then
right.
seeing the through line, right?
Yes.
And then with the work that I do, it's okay, now in that vision, in that dream, what's this next even more amazing version of yourself
Yes. Right.
that you're being asked to grow into, right? And so I love, and Kate, you did a beautiful job with me on my LinkedIn page, that through line between here's where I came from, which is why it informs and defines what I'm doing now. And then
Mhm.
realizing that we don't know how to do our dream.
Right.
If it is a really bold, if it's a true dream, who we are today doesn't know how to do it,
Right.
and we can't see ourselves in it.
Right.
So that becomes the mastery
Right.
and the growth to begin to become that person and see yourself and become that even more amazing
Well, and
version
then
of
you become
yourself.
the guide for that person. You become the guide to help make that
I
process.
don't become the guide.
Well, I mean, they are, but I mean, you're the person
No, no,
that's
no, no, no,
showing
no,
them how
not
to
even
do it.
they. They don't become the guide.
Okay.
The
I
dream.
meant you're showing them how to do this. You're teaching them
Yeah.
the methodologies to do this. Yeah.
Absolutely, but here's a really important piece. The vision, which is actually a conversation with the very energy that's animating you, becomes the guide. You literally
Okay.
learn how to tap into the
Right.
wisdom of the vision. Now, yes, I'm guiding them in that.
I should have said coach.
It's okay. And the other piece is that I know I can make it happen. That's the other really subtle but really powerful distinction that I help people with. It's not about making it happen. It's
Yeah.
learning how to make it welcome. That
Yeah.
we learn how to truly receive and allow the good that's seeking us.
Well, when I went to that in-person retreat for 3 or
Yeah,
4 days
my
in Spain,
event. Yeah.
I mean, there are people who didn't know you, or they knew of you, but they really didn't know quite
Yeah.
how to they didn't really understand quite what you did. And so I loved watching your process because I mean, I just think it's just who I am. I observe how people do things. Like whenever I watch anybody on stage doing an offer, I'm like, I'm going to watch how they do that. Like it's just so you bring people in this way that you make it accessible out of the gate. You don't jump right into the weeds, is what I'm trying to say. Like you
Yeah.
bring them in so that they can see, they get this like little but big awareness. Then they develop it. And then over the course of that retreat, then they get, I mean, remember that exercise that you made us do where we turn around and do the thing?
Time machine.
Remember like on the second or third day, I said to you, I think it was the second day, I go, we're doing this again? And that was the point. Like, and then we all laughed because I was like, we just did that. We got to do it again and again and again. But that to me was brilliant.
Yeah.
Maybe just describe that little exercise because I think it's
Yeah.
cool.
So it's called Time Machine, and
Right.
what you did, and I do it several times over the 3 days, right?
Right.
Because it's that time to really listen deeply and hear
Mhm.
what is the dream, what is the vision that's seeking me, right? That's wanting me to see it. And so when you say it out loud, you're hearing yourself and you're tapping into something bigger than just you. And I've watched over the years, so I've been doing this work for
Yeah.
15 years now, right? I've watched over the years, Kate, how during that 3-day event, people's dreams change and they expand.
They
And
evolve.
yes,
I mean, mine
this
did.
within 3 days.
I know. Just from the first day I did this to by the time I left, and then I wrote that letter to myself.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to talk about like clear, you
Well,
know?
and it's getting past all the voices that people
Yes.
aren't even aware that are talking,
Right.
that will start giving you all the excuses why you don't really want this. And so, you're basically in an incubator of transformation for 3 days with my arms around you. That voice doesn't get a lot of wiggle room.
Yeah. No, it was great. All right. We're going to go kind of get back into the meat of all this here. So you often talk about partnering with life. For
Yeah.
someone who's used to setting goals and powering through, what does that actually look like in daily practice?
Yeah, so I think we've been speaking to it quite a
Yes.
bit
Yeah.
during our time together. But one of the things that I really appreciate about the community, again, Kate, that you and I have attracted and that we move in, is that for the most part, I would say the majority of people within our collective community where we intersect have some kind of belief or awareness that there is some energy moving through us, right?
Mhm. Right.
Very few people really understand what it is to tap into that. So most people have been trained, and there's a lot of beautiful teachers out there that are, even manifestation teachings can be this: I'm doing it. I'm going to visualize. I'm going to raise my vibration. I'm going to make it happen. That works up to a point until it doesn't work. When we really understand what it is to partner with this intelligence that is always moving through us, it's inspiring us and it's guiding us, life just becomes easier and a whole lot more fun. So what does that look like on a daily basis? Well, I actually have a daily practice that I walk people through in order to be able to tap into this energy, this wisdom.
Mhm.
What it looks like on a daily basis is, first of all, literally coming back to your breath. And so I'm going to walk you through what this literally looks like. And so the first thing you do is that you literally bring your focus back to your breath. What that does is that it just calms your whole nervous system down,
Mhm.
and it brings your focus back to core. It's like you bring your attention back home. Then I invite people to bring to mind what I call a snapshot image of a part of your vision that it all worked out. And so, for you, it may be that you're on a stage with 1,000 people and people are leaning in and they're taking notes and you're inviting people to work with you. And there's just this flood of people that are, quote, running to the back of the room kind of
Right.
thing. And
Right.
so you're seeing it, right? But you're not just seeing it, you're actually being in the identity of it. It's not just a matter of feeling it, but you're actually seeing that you are that person.
Right.
You have grown into being that person, right? Because along the way, your growing edges are going to show up. Everything on like where we're going has got to show up, um, um, in order to be seen, recognized, released, and repatterned.
Mm-hmm.
So it's in that state that you then ask, what is the action for me to take today in service to my dream?
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that as you serve your dream, you're serving this energy. So the difference between that and having a goal and getting up and saying, okay, what are my actions? What's the strategy? And all of that is important. I'm not suggesting to not have a goal and not have a strategy. It's just when we let that lead, it becomes a whole lot more tiring. But when we can tap into the wisdom of our vision and allow the wisdom of our vision to guide the strategy, guide the steps, guide the actions that we're taking that day, you literally are supporting your entire being, your nervous system, to take those actions with a much greater degree of ease, expectation,
Right.
success. And there's a receptivity that you increase your capacity to allow more good into your life.
Right. We've got a question.
Okay.
Somebody that we both know. Hello, Christy Lee. Thank you for joining us. She's coming in to us from Facebook. So she said, hello. First of all, I highly respect and love you both. I have heard for a good part of my life, just manifest it into your life. However, no one teaches the actual steps to create a life you love. Can you comment on why manifesting can be temporary?
That's such a great question, Christy. And it goes back to what I was talking about earlier, episodic manifestation, right? And there's a lot of teaching out there that when people talk about, I'm raising my vibration, which is important. But they'll talk about how they'll dance or they'll have gratitude specifically to manifest. And so they'll manifest the thing.
Right.
But they have not grown into the person who's actually at home in that life.
Right.
We have to literally begin to be at home in that life. That's that identity that I talk about, that we put on, that awareness that, wow, I get to be that person. And when we become that person, when we actually own that identity, we own the life. But if we don't own the identity, we can't truly have the life on a sustained purpose. This is why people do this, the up and down, the roller coaster.
So let me ask you this. And I does this happen to you? I mean, I think we're all human, right? I mean, does the dips, the highs and the lows, even
the highs and lows don't happen as much. Let me see that. And I've learned to recognize them more quickly.
Right.
Doesn't mean that all my results are, exactly the way that I want them. But what I don't do near as much is get into the disappointment, get into what does this mean? What does it mean about me? I don't look over my shoulder near as much, wondering, when's the other shoe going to drop? Is it going to last? And the reason for that, Kate, is that I keep myself in highly structures of support to help me continue to grow my capacity to understand these laws and apply them to my next level dream.
Right. And that's been my journey too. I mean, you're, like I mentioned at the beginning, you're part of that. Sandra Yancey is part of that. Betsy Clark is part of that. I mean, we know a lot of the same people. But if I had never found this community, I mean, I was a smart person. I hired coaches, but until I started really taking a look at the spiritual foundation piece,
that's
it. It was the game changer.
Yeah.
And I still get stuck dealing with, still fresh out of some trauma. And but like what you said, I recognize it more now. So it might catch me for a little bit and I might be like, and then I'm like, but then I recognize it and I know what my tools are, so to speak. You know what I mean? To shift it. So, all right. So I just want to thank everybody for being here. Again, if you're here, Christy, thanks for the question. Please feel free to put a question in the chat if you have one. If you're watching on the replay, feel free to also put questions in and we can get back to you in the chat going forward. So you've got a few things that I want to talk about. You've got a masterclass coming up. So one of the things I was going to ask you just to kind of lead into that. So first, I want you to kind of leave a little great little takeaway for us today.
Okay.
So for someone listening today or on the replay who knows they're ready to make a shift but doesn't know where to start, what's one thing they can do this week or, to step toward a more easeful, aligned kind of success or practice?
Yeah. So what I would suggest, and I'm going to change the answer because I know you and I talked about this at the beginning, so I have a
We
different.
did?
I think learning how to ask one of the simplest but the most profound question that we can ask is the place to start. The question is, what would I love? What would I love? What would I really love? Not what I think I can do, not what I hope to do, not what's, a little bit ahead, but what would I really love? Now, I'm not expecting you to be able to just, start eloquently articulating this quote, beautiful vision. I'm going to encourage you to literally write it at the top of a journal page and maybe spend about 5 minutes every day for a week, just journaling on, if I really could create this life, what would I really love? And just let your heart start answering because you're tapping into that wisdom. I'm going to encourage you while you're doing that, what I'm going to encourage you to do is the part of you that's going to say, well, how are you going to do that? The voice.
Well, all the questions. I mean, I remember when I was in your retreat and you asked us to do this, my question was, do you mean for my business or for my life? And then I was like, I almost laughed. I was like, well, it's both.
It's all right because it's your health.
But I am asking the question because if this is a new notion for people listening to this, I just want you to say, like, yes, this is your personal life, it's your work life.
All of it. Yeah, there's 4 areas that I really encourage people to tap into.
Okay.
Your health, right? That we want good, beautiful health, relationships, all relationships, your vocation. This is, primarily why most people are here. And then your freedom with your money and your time. And you're not looking for an answer necessarily. You're just allowing yourself to free flow that journaling. And the part of you that wants to start arguing, you just simply say, nope, you don't get airtime right now. You do what I call put the how on hold. Put the how on hold.
Light bulb moment. LBM.
Yeah.
Wow on hold.
And just stay focused on, if I really could, what would I love? And just let it stream out of you. That simple exercise alone can be life-changing for you to really start hearing that voice.
Well, like I said, I still have that letter and I still refer to it. And I would say that most of the things that I was dreaming of that were starting a little bit then have actually manifested, have actually become reality.
Yeah. And you've grown.
And then when I look back, I go, oh, wow, that worked.
Exactly. And you're the most important piece of this is that you're different.
Yes.
The results are great. The outer results are great. The greatest gift is who you become in the process.
Well, that's been the biggest awareness for me and I would say for a while, but in this past year, I put a lot more focus into various things, different things in my business. But like, I'm not just the LinkedIn profile lady. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like your origin story, your personal brand development, your messaging. What do you want to be known for? What's the outcome you provide so that you don't just tell people what your features are, but you also talk about the outcomes that if they work with you, what that provides. And when you understand that and you're grounded in that, man, it's like just so good. It feels so good.
So think about, for you, this is a beautiful example, what your growth was as you claimed more of that, right? Where was the growth in you to be able to take a stand for that full spectrum experience with people?
I mean, one of the ways I listen differently. I've always been a good listener, but I listen more deeply.
Yeah.
And the more I listen, the more I'm picking not picking things out. I'm teasing things out of the people because
Yeah.
the hardest story I ever wrote was my own.
Yeah.
And I've
Yeah.
got a real gift for everybody else's. So
Well, and if I could just take it a step further, yes, you're listening more deeply, and I would suggest because you have a more open heart.
absolutely
And so there's the foundational gift and
right.
growth is that you've opened your heart. Even you've always been this amazing, caring person, but what I've watched, Kate, is that you've allowed your heart to open even more to be able to listen more deeply.
Well, coming from you, that means a lot. Thank you. All right. So tell us, so for people who are interested in reaching out to you, tell us the usual ways. Jim will put them up here on the bottom. And then I know you have a masterclass coming up. I think, is it on the 19th?
Yes, it's next
Yes.
Wednesday.
Okay, so it's next week. Tell us about that. And then we're going to put a QR code up in case people want to attend, because her master classes and her retreats, the virtual and her in person, are phenomenal.
Well, I think the QR code
here.
is I think that hey Nita.
This is a childhood friend of mine from Vermont. So
I think the QR code is for a different gift, but
okay. Oop, that's for the freebie. I'm sorry.
yeah,
So
okay.
he's going to put the link for the masterclass, and then you do have a freebie. So let's talk about the masterclass first.
Yeah, so we're right here on the heels of 2026, right? And so it's an opportunity to really step out, step aside. Number one, let's celebrate 2025. Whatever it's been, if it's been off the chart for you, if it's been a struggle, we're going to really take a moment and celebrate 2025. And then give yourself room not to just figure out, but to listen deeply to what does 2026 want to be. Really begin to own that, gain clarity, gain a greater understanding of what is it to partner with this invisible substance, and to begin to, and I'm not all fluff, to begin to put some action steps in place. What does it look like to build momentum in order for us to just come out of 2025, out of the block into making 2026 your best year ever?
So is the best place for them to find your information on your mass class on your website?
I don't think we have it on our on the website.
Oh, actually, Jim just put it in
There we go. Yeah, that's it.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. But also go to your website. All right. Now talk about the little gift you're giving all of our listeners today.
Yeah, so it's my vision toolkit. Vision is the foundation to everything, right? Because it is the conversation that we're having with what I call the infinite side of our nature. And in this, I have literally written out instructions on how to write a vision. Because like I said, a lot of people they have a cursory understanding, but they don't really have that deep understanding of how to even write a vision. I've created a meditation to be able to listen deeply.
Good.
Yeah. There's a meditation.
I'm gonna get it for myself.
Well, grab it, Kate.
I will.
Meditation to be able to listen deeply to what is it that I would love. Then you're writing the vision. Then I've created a daily practice. Here's the practical piece of it, of what do I do with this thing now that I have it, right? And so there's a daily practice to be able to ground you in the morning and the evening so you can begin to put things into motion and see results.
Okay. All right, everybody. So there's a QR code there in the corner of the screen that will get you the toolkit, the vision toolkit. Thank you, Felicia, for sharing that.
Yeah, and if you want more, if you want to for the masterclass, just email me. We'll make sure my team and I will get that to you.
Okay. I don't know if Jim, did you put her
Yeah,
email
it's
up
there. It's on. That's what's going across the bottom.
Oh, there it is. Okay. I have the wrong glasses on. Well, Felicia, I just love talking with you, and I love learning from you. You, like I said, you've made a big difference in my life, so I'm grateful and thank you. Thank you for your time today and for sharing all of this wonderful information with our listeners and our viewers. And again, if you're watching on the replay, feel free to you can still get the giveaway. If you see this before her masterclass next week, then you can also use the QR code to learn more about that. So any final thoughts you want to leave, or are we good?
Yeah, just that I want to acknowledge you, Kate, for your brilliance and your capacity to truly be present with people. And I've just really watched you grow, together, right? We're growing together over the years. And yeah, it's been a joy doing this, but it's just been a real gift having you as a friend and a colleague. And you know your stuff. You really know your stuff. I mean, your work makes a profound difference in the lives and the businesses of the people that you work with.
I appreciate that. And Nita just shared that too. Nita's gone through my journey with me, Felicia. So
Yeah.
she's coming from a place of love and support. So thank you, Nita. I appreciate that. All right, please stay in the green room. And everybody, thank you for having coffee with us. One more little virtual toast with my water instead of coffee. I can't do coffee afternoon because then I won't sleep. So thank you, everybody. And we will see you in the replay.